You are emotionally exhausted, not because you care too much, but because you keep putting your soul on trial every time you need something. Every boundary you set becomes a courtroom where you feel forced to defend your humanity to people who already decided your comfort matters less than their convenience. That constant explaining is not communication anymore. It is self-abandonment disguised as kindness. You keep thinking that if you can just find the perfect wording, the perfect tone, the perfect emotional packaging, people will finally respect your limits. But people who benefit from your lack of boundaries are rarely confused by your explanations. They understand your boundary perfectly. They simply dislike the consequences of it. This is the hidden psychological exhaustion behind over-explaining. You are not tired from having boundaries. You are tired from trying to make everyone emotionally comfortable with them. There is a difference. Healthy people may ask for clarification, but manipulative people ask for endless explanation because explanation keeps the negotiation alive. The longer you explain, the more opportunity they have to reposition your reality until you start doubting your own needs. That is why so many people leave difficult conversations feeling strangely guilty, even when they were reasonable. Their nervous system just spent hours trying to convince another human being that their pain deserved legitimacy. Many people learned this pattern early in life. They grew up in environments where boundaries were treated as rebellion instead of self-respect. Maybe love was conditional. Maybe saying no triggered emotional withdrawal, guilt, criticism, or punishment. So the brain adapted. It learned that survival required emotional overtranslation. You became hyper-articulate about your needs because deep down you feared your needs would not matter unless they were perfectly justified. This creates adults who can explain their exhaustion in 20 paragraphs, but still feel terrified to simply say, "I cannot do this." The tragedy is that chronic over-explaining slowly disconnects you from your own internal authority. You stop asking yourself whether something feels healthy and start obsessing over whether your explanation sounds convincing enough. Your nervous system becomes externally managed. Every decision passes through the imagined approval of other people before it reaches your own truth. That is why so many people feel emotionally fragmented. They no longer know the difference between genuine compassion and fear-based compliance. Notice how often people say things like, "I'm sorry, but I know this sounds selfish. I hate disappointing you. I probably shouldn't feel this way, but..." Those phrases reveal a deeper wound. The person is not just communicating a boundary. They are apologizing for existing outside another person's expectations. Over time, this creates a devastating psychological split where your external personality becomes agreeable while your internal world becomes resentful, exhausted, and emotionally starved. You smile while silently grieving the life you keep abandoning. This is why people-pleasing becomes so dangerous. It rewards you socially while destroying you privately. The world praises you for being accommodating while your body absorbs the cost. Your sleep suffers. Your anxiety increases. Your focus weakens. Your identity blurs. You become so adapted to other people's emotional weather that you forget your own climate entirely. Eventually, you wake up one day unable to recognize yourself because your entire personality has been shaped around avoiding discomfort and preserving external harmony. But harmony built on self-betrayal is not peace. It is emotional suppression, wearing polite clothing. Many people secretly believe boundaries are cruel because they confuse access with love. They think love means unlimited emotional availability. But real love respects reality. Real love understands limits. Real love does not require someone to destroy themselves in order to maintain connection. The people who become angry when you protect your peace are often revealing how much they benefited from your exhaustion. This becomes especially painful when someone says, "You've changed. You used to care. You're too distant now. You're selfish." What they often mean is, "You stopped over-functioning for me." Growth feels offensive to people who were comfortable with your self-neglect. That does not make your growth wrong. It means the relationship was partially built around your emotional overextension. When you stop over-explaining, some people panic because your silence removes their ability to negotiate your limits into submission. Silence is terrifying for recovering people-pleasers because silence feels unsafe. Explaining creates the illusion of control. If you keep talking, maybe you can manage the other person's reaction. Maybe you can soften the conflict. Maybe you can prevent rejection. But over-explaining rarely creates safety. It usually creates emotional debt. You leave conversations feeling drained because your nervous system was trying to earn permission to protect itself. This is why emotionally healthy boundaries sound surprisingly simple. I'm unavailable. That doesn't work for me. I need space. I'm not comfortable with that. No. I've made my decision. No dissertation. No emotional courtroom. No 12-page defense of your humanity. People who respect you do not require exhaustive justification for basic self-respect. And people committed to misunderstanding you will continue misunderstanding you no matter how beautifully you explain yourself. This realization changes everything because it frees you from the exhausting fantasy that clarity can heal unwillingness. A major part of emotional maturity is learning that misunderstanding is survivable. Many people over-explain because they are trying to control perception. They want to guarantee they will still be seen as good, loving, generous, or kind after setting a limit. But authenticity sometimes means allowing people to temporarily misinterpret you while you remain loyal to yourself anyway. That is difficult because humans are wired for belonging. Rejection activates deep survival responses inside the brain. Your nervous system may interpret someone's disappointment as danger, even when you are objectively safe. This is why boundary work can feel physically uncomfortable. Your body may experience guilt, shaking, anxiety, racing thoughts, or panic after asserting yourself. That discomfort does not automatically mean you did something wrong. Often it means you are interrupting an old conditioning pattern. Many people think confidence comes before boundaries. In reality, confidence often develops after repeatedly surviving the discomfort of enforcing them. Every time you maintain a limit without collapsing into over-explanation, your nervous system slowly learns, I can protect self and still survive. I can disappoint someone and still be worthy. I can choose peace without earning permission. This is how self-trust is rebuilt. Self-trust is not loud. It does not obsessively defend itself. It does not perform emotional gymnastics to make everyone comfortable. It becomes grounded enough to know that your needs are valid, even when they inconvenience someone else. There is also a hidden grief that emerges when people stop over-explaining. You begin realizing how often you were never truly heard. You recognize how much energy you spent trying to translate your pain into acceptable language for emotionally unavailable people. You see the years lost trying to negotiate basic dignity from those committed to minimizing your experience. That realization hurts, but it also liberates you because clarity ends confusion. You stop chasing emotionally expensive conversations that never change anything. You stop trying to drag empathy out of people determined to protect their own comfort. You stop shrinking your truth into softer versions just to avoid tension. Instead, you begin preserving your life force. That preservation matters because mental energy is finite. Every circular conversation drains cognitive resources. Every unnecessary justification consumes emotional bandwidth. Every attempt to convince someone to respect you steals focus from your actual life. Over time, this creates chronic fatigue because your brain never fully exits defensive mode. You become hyper-vigilant, rehearsing future conversations in your head, anticipating objections, preparing evidence for your own humanity before anyone even asks. This constant internal preparation is exhausting. It fragments attention, it weakens creativity, it reduces emotional resilience. You are carrying invisible dialogues everywhere you go. That is why some people feel mentally tired all the time, even when nothing dramatic is happening externally. Their nervous system is trapped in permanent self-defense. Healing begins when you realize your peace does not require unanimous approval. Not everyone will understand your boundaries. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Not everyone will agree with your decisions. And none of those things invalidate your right to protect your well-being. The healthiest people in your life will adjust without demanding an emotional thesis. They may feel disappointed sometimes, but they will still respect your humanity. That distinction matters. Mature relationships can survive discomfort. Dysfunctional ones collapse the moment access is restricted. As you stop over-explaining, you may initially feel colder or harsher than before. That is normal. When someone spends years overextending themselves, healthy neutrality can feel emotionally unfamiliar. You are not becoming cruel. You are recalibrating after years of excessive emotional labor. And slowly something beautiful begins happening. Your mind becomes quieter. Your body relaxes. Your sleep deepens. Your resentment decreases. Your conversations become cleaner. Your decisions become clearer. You stop wasting life force trying to make emotionally unsafe people comfortable with your boundaries. Instead, you invest that energy into building a life where your nervous system can finally breathe. You rediscover hobbies. You feel present again. You regain creativity. You laugh more naturally. You stop rehearsing every interaction. You stop living like your existence requires legal justification. This is the deeper truth about self-care that many people never discuss. Real self-care is not always soft. Sometimes it looks like disappointing people. Sometimes it looks like refusing access. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like leaving conversations unfinished because your peace matters more than winning an argument. Sometimes it looks like allowing another person to misunderstand you instead of abandoning yourself to correct their perception. Your healing accelerates the moment you stop treating your boundaries like requests and start treating them like reality. Because boundaries are not punishments. They are instructions for how to remain emotionally alive. And the moment you stop over-explaining your need for peace is the moment you finally begin protecting it.